There we go.
Yes, we're ready.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the East Baltimore Historical Library's Storyteller Brunch today. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. We have a wonderful program in store for you. I am Katanya Lester. I'll be one of your mobile media correspondents today, along with my beautiful colleague and friend.
Thank you, Anita Bryant. I'm so looking forward to today. We're back again here in Baltimore. Again, bringing you live feeds. We look forward to seeing you guys in person soon. We'll be able to host some things, but in the meantime, sit back, relax, grab a cup of coffee, a tea, or whatever you have, and enjoy.
Yes, we have a wonderful program in store for you. And what you'll learn today, if you don't already know, more information about East Baltimore, and specifically the East Baltimore Historical Library. And as you can see, we are wearing our buttons, thanks to Councilman Antonio Glover, that says, "I love East Baltimore." And no matter what part of Baltimore you're from, you probably by now would have experienced coming through East Baltimore, living in East Baltimore, working in East Baltimore, partying in East Baltimore.
Exactly.
So
we learn education in East Baltimore. All
exactly. Exactly. And that's what we're doing today. We're here at the new East Baltimore Historical Library, which is located in the 2100 block of Ashland Avenue, inside of one of the 9 row homes that were preserved, which is part of the Henderson Hopkins School.
Yes.
And we're going to give you a tour of that later today. We're going to get started in a little bit with a brief program, and then we're going to show you some wonderful videos of individuals who have lived in East Baltimore and currently still are here. But tell them a little bit about the East Baltimore Historical Library.
Yes, well, just what you're going to learn today is you're going to get stories from people that are here, especially for a lot of development that we see now. And it's all about preservation and legacy. And they continue the story. We have set up this staple here, this building, thank you to our fearless leader, Miss
Leah Redmond.
Many of you who don't know her, look her up, Google her, you will research and learn. This right here is groundbreaking, and it's something that will stay forever.
Mm-hmm.
And this is something that she has put together and worked long and hard for years. So I do advise you, if you can, when we open up, to come visit. The library is just a community project with the support of John Hopkins, and as of course with the background and history and stories from the people that lived here and the people that were here. So definitely come on board and join us. And today you're going to see some wonderful stories and videos and hear their perspective.
Exactly. You're probably familiar with several of the people that you're going to see. Now, speaking of Nia Redmond, she is a powerhouse. Did I ever tell you how I met Nia?
Someone just asked me that.
How did you meet Nia? That's going to be the famous question from here on out. How did you meet Nia?
Yeah, drop it in the chat. How did you meet Nia?
How did you meet Nia? Definitely. If you know Nia, please drop it in the chat. How did you meet Nia?
Yes.
So many, many moons ago, I was working. I started working in East Baltimore at what then was Nations Bank.
Oh.
But then it became Bank of America. And that's right across from Johns Hopkins Hospital on Monument Street, I believe. Yes. And so after my brief time there, I started working at Johns Hopkins Hospital. And during my tenure at Hopkins, during like the last 5 years of my tenure, my 15 years at Hopkins, I was working with the Urban Health Institute, and Nia was on the advisory board for the Urban Health Institute. And that's how I met her, and I've been friends with her ever since. So that's been about since 2008. Yes, over 13 years. Because at that time, I was pregnant with my youngest daughter, and she's 13 now. So I've known her for over 13 years, and I've been here on and off to help with the project. And Nia's the type of person that you just can't leave. You know, she's a wonderful woman. She's full of knowledge, very intelligent, and she knows how to get what she wants. And as a result, we have been able, and she has been able with us collectively, to actually bring her vision into fruition of the East Baltimore Historical Library. And we're just really excited about what we're going to show you today. We're excited about everything that this building and the mission of this building and the people that are coming to help and volunteer and support that it's going to do for East Baltimore, for the children that live here, for the residents that live here, and for everyone's to come. So
And for the new residents that's coming, you know, when you come into a neighborhood in the community, it's all about bridging the gap. And that's something that Nia is excellent at. She works across the lines. And it's not just here in East Baltimore, people know how to do out Baltimore because she knows how to ask for what she wants and what they need, but then also how to tell the story and get people to come and be open. And to just also talk about how, which I love what it says here about strong, resilient community that survive and thrive. So that's what you'll be seeing today. And that's what you'll be hearing about. And we look forward to seeing you guys and hearing from you. So please drop some comments in chat if you have any questions. We look forward to hearing from you and we'll try to get them answered. We're going to start this program soon. We have a few more people to come in and we're so excited to see you guys again too.
We really look forward to it. We're going to take a brief pause and we're going to come back very shortly.
Give us a rhythm quote today. The most important thing that we never lose is our rhythm. The thing that we honor of today, which is the first day that the East Baltimore Historical Library is actually doing an event in this building that took us 20 years to get here. This is our first opportunity to give an event and to welcome the Storytellers. Senator Irby is here. We see him and acknowledge him being the oldest person in the room. And we ask for permission to speak. Elder Irby, do we have permission to continue work today?
What do you want me to do?
To say and be in agreement with us. Yeah. We know that we've lost much of our tradition due to what we've been through as a people, but it is an African tradition to ask the oldest elder in the room permission to speak. Sir, for giving us permission to speak today. And I thank you very much. Now that I said, as we do libation, the thing we would ask you to do is remember our ancestors who are not here with us today. People that we still depend on their energy to make a way out of nowhere. The marvelous thing about this project, the East Baltimore Story, we understand that it was the ancestors' energy that caused us to be here today. Because there's no way we could have done this with the quote-unquote motley crew that we had. Very fragile group. Thank goodness for the prayers of the ancestors and those people like Henry Patrick Redmond, Inella Redmond, Lorraine Chapman, Loretta Green, James Kane, Agnes Kane Callum, Mary Johnson, Constance Maddox, G.I. Johnson, the number of people, Robert Houston, Leon Lyles, Lassie Wilson, Lola Jenkins, Jatelda Giles, Martha Benton, Patsy Betts, let's go with Rita Church. So many have gone on before us with that energy that we move forward in that energy. Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. O'Shea. And can you please fill the room by calling out the names of your ancestors who are not here in the physical with us today? We appreciate it.
Daniel Hill, Lillian Hill.
Camilla James Madison, Willie Mae and Charlie Leggett,
Yvonne Owens.
Leon Miles.
Annabelle Lester. Joan Lester.
Thank you very much.
Mr. William Oliver Richards,
Thank you. Miss Ava. Miss Ava.
Godmother.
Roy Jones.
With the father of the law.
Mr. June Solomon.
Abraham,
He was the father of all fathers.
Mr. June Solomon.
Dr. Homer Favor,
Dr. Homer Favor.
Ernestine Funderburg, Bozzy Funderburg, my parents, and my son Curtis Funderburg Jr.
Curtis Funderburg Jr. Thank you very much for this last call.
Mr. Earl and Mr. Walsh from New Orleans Avenue, 1700 block.
Mr.
They
Warren.
was the original block watchers before block watchers was ever designed.
Naval Office.
Lucille Gorham, former president of the Middle East Neighborhood. Rosa Bernstein, former environmentalist in the Middle East Neighborhood. And last but not least, please, we honor the man that knew how to get it done, Mayor Clarence DuBurns. Without Mayor Clarence DuBurns, there would be no EDO, there would be no 45th District, there would be no legacy of an awful lot of people. We honor Delegate Hattie Harrison for bringing us back $250,000 in a bond bill to say that one day we'd be in this space. We honor the memories of these people that made a way out of nowhere. And we really appreciate you coming today. Thank you. Ashe.
I'd like to say good afternoon, everyone. My name is Vince Leggett, and I'm the founder of the Blacks of the Chesapeake Foundation based in Annapolis, Maryland. But I'm proud to wear this badge. I am East Baltimore. I describe myself as a country boy from East Baltimore because my parents migrated from North Carolina in the 1950s, and we lived up in the Darley Park community, Hartford and 25th. And so for the last 35 or 40 years, I've worked throughout the state, but it's just a great opportunity to come home. And I'm just so glad that Mr. Madison and Rita Redmond and so many people that paved the way to, again, document the stories of East Baltimore. Over the past several months, there have been 2 documentary film crews that have worked to do oral histories. And this afternoon, we've gathered together to share vignettes of these oral histories. There was a marvelous grand opening. We have a number of elected officials with us. I see Delegate Chanel Branch, and I see Delegate Smith back here, and we'll be hearing more from them as the program goes on. Our great senator and community leader, we also have here with us today, Mr. Irving. And again, we'll be seeing some of these individuals on the screen. There are a number of people that have been part of the East Baltimore whole redevelopment team. What I would say is myself, I'm new to the train, But again, working with Nia, but my roots go deep here. I went to Columbus School number 99 on North and Washington Street. I went to Herring Run out on St. Clair Lane. And again, I would just say that I knew the alleys of Baltimore better than I knew the streets. So I don't have to say any more about that. Because it just might be somebody in the audience and say, look at him now. I told you, I knew the alleys better than the street. But for myself and my belief, thank God that I'm here and survived. And the last 24 months during the pandemic has been a challenge for us all. And one thing I would say is we've had to find different ways to grieve. That we couldn't go to the nursing homes, we couldn't go to the hospices, we couldn't get into the hospitals. And when your mom, your dad, your child, your auntie, your bestie were in those conditions, and we've had to find different ways to grieve. And to grieve. But I would say everyone in this room is a survivor. Let's get myself in there. Because everybody went to the other side. And so many of the people that Nia lifted up, and there are other people that know the history of the people so much better. We have Mr. Curtis here, and he'll tell you a little bit about the technology and the vignettes and so forth. And I guess that with no further ado, I'm Nia's a special assistant today, and so she'll interject and guide me. She just asked me to greet everyone and open up. And so thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming out, and just a beautiful crowd. Hopefully the audience can see all you guys. It was just wonderful people coming out and making this happen and hearing the stories and just taking part in what we're producing here. I'm new to the train as well. Been a part of this process for about a year, and it's been a joy, and I can't wait to see what comes next. But when it comes to the technology, the objective or the idea was to take the space that we have and make the most out of it, right? So we have the pictures, we have the signs, we have the graphic images, we have the text, but we also have digital content. And the thing about the digital content is that it continually grows. So what you guys are going to see today is just the beginning. It's just about 1% of what we can do. So storytelling that can go back. Politicians, there's business people that can all be a part of what we're doing, and it's unlimited in terms of what we can do. So, I just wanted to say that just to get things started, but just remember, this is just going to go way beyond what we're already doing, and there's things, ideas that we have that are going to really connect what we're doing here to other institutions. So that's my little technology piece. So again, welcome guys, and let's just keep it going, keep the show rolling.
Mr. Funderburk, did you say the name of your company?
Yes, thank you. So my company is System Integrity. We're a Baltimore-based company. I was born and raised right here in Baltimore. So the objective of System Integrity, and by the way, Mr. Dante Johnson is one of my first employees, and one of the smartest people I know. And I've only known him for a few weeks, right? And he's just jumped in and just taken over. But this is an example of what we're trying to do. This is a 21-year-old gentleman who's going to be so within a year or two, he'll be a network engineer. So we want to have 20, 30, 40 folks just like him that we're developing as a part of our company. So thank you, Nia, for helping me interject that. So, right, that's all I have. Oh, yeah, so, so we're going to get started. You want to bring up, you start with the first presentation? So, the first one we're going to do is Mr. Matthew Bebe Williams. He couldn't be here today, but he's a native Baltimorean. A lot of folks in the room know him, but I'll I'll let him sort of introduce himself to the video. Senator Early, pull that one up. So I knew nothing about Senator Early, from Baltimore until now. I'm a West Baltimore guy, but that's the power of this organization. You get to learn, even a old guy like me can learn a few new things. That was not downloaded yet, so we're going to move to the next one. It's going to take a few minutes. Do one to start. So we'll do another one, kids school.
I am the boy with the smileless laugh, and the girl much too old for. My name is Amber Jones. I live and work in East Baltimore, and I'm a development analyst with Rebuild Metro. And I also was a part of Kids Scoop for about 10 years. I remember one time I was in my bedroom, and I couldn't have been more than 6 or 7 years old. And I was just thinking about all of the things that were happening around me. I think there were some sirens going off on the street. And I just remember thinking, that there was a lot that was going on in the world. And I didn't understand why my community particularly had to suffer. And so Kids Scoop gave me an outlet to really express those thoughts and have a voice as a young child. The computer lab where the newspaper operated out of was in an area in Middle East Baltimore that we learned one of the largest newspapers had named Zombieland. And I remember hearing that term as a child and thinking, these aren't zombies, these are real people that are in this community. And I remember learning about things that most kids my age probably weren't talking about, such as lead paint poisoning and the effect that it had on youth, and our ability to be able to learn, to concentrate, to make decisions. I remember learning the word gentrification as a child and learning about what was in store for East Baltimore. I remember seeing plans that included buildings that I recognized that surrounded where I lived, and the area that I was familiar with, and places that are now no longer here, but at that time had houses, had businesses, and people were occupying. So I just remember learning about some of these things and feeling like if we didn't speak up, that we would be forgotten. And Kids Scoop also gave me more context to understand why things were the way they were in Baltimore. Like, I remember learning about history in school, but it skipped over a lot of things. It didn't talk about redlining. It didn't really talk about, white flight and black flight. Like, it didn't talk about those things. And Kid Scoop, for me, filled in the gaps. And it also gave me an opportunity to interact with people that were in positions to either tell the story of what was happening or be able to make a difference through leadership, through legislation, through their power in office. And so it was weird.
So this goes, 5 or 10 minutes, right? So you kind of move on to different ones. And I had no idea that Ms. Here, did you start Kid Scoop?
Yes, the idea of Kids Scoop actually came from some young children in the neighborhood on Patterson Park and Chase. Years prior to that, I'd done a children's newspaper prior to that. But what happened, I had an old newspaper. The paper was called, the original children's newspaper in Baltimore City was called City Scoop. Those were children that came from all over Baltimore City, from both private and public schools. To resurrect the children's paper in 2001, it was called Kids Scoop. And we opened in a garage that was attached to the building at 2251 East State Street. The front of the building was a curry house run by my family members, my sister in particular. And I lived at the top of the store, and the back was the garage. And so they did not have after-school programming in 88 acres. 88 acres is how the territory transformed. Well, in 88 acres, before they transformed that neighborhood, there was not one after-school program in 88 acres, which I thought was appalling. So we opened the computer lab with the computers from Towson University, and later on in Power Baltimore outfitted the whole garage into updated camera equipment and computers. And Kids Scoop newspaper actually went into every elementary school in Baltimore City, and the children wrote letters on a constant basis about how to improve their home community. And it's funny that a neighborhood, in fact, that's where the people like Jill Carter, who came to visit the children. The first person you saw there with the children in the computer lab was former Delegate Pete Rollins. We have all of these politicians, from Pete Rollins to Lisa Glad to Jill Carter. We have all of these people on video. These children videoed these people. The last person to visit those children was Kathleen Kennedy Townsend, who at that time was our lieutenant governor. But those children captured that footage, and those are the things that will come about once this library evolves. And you will see the message, ironically, that none other than Pete Rollins, it was on his real door, and he asked the kids, you know the machine on camera? And the kids together says, well, take this message for East Baltimore. So I won't tell you what the message was, but that was in the garage in East Baltimore with someone who was a heavyweight. Wow. A heavyweight. People like Senator Lisa Gladden, who said this project shouldn't be in a garage. This project should be down at Port Discovery at the Children's Museum. So often we hear about negative things happening in our community, but there were some positive things happening in East Baltimore. Who would have ever thought that the first citywide children's newspaper, which was independent press, would come out of the garage in East Baltimore?
So what we're going to do next, we're going to show another video, but all of the videos are actually on different kiosks. So when we break up, you can kind of go to the different kiosks and see some of the videos. There's 14 different ones. And there's a 100-inch monitor on the is day one. You can see more stuff on this one and more stuff on each of the kiosks, including the standing kiosks in the back. So we'll go ahead and play this one, and hopefully we'll have the other one downloaded as well.
Because I think I am East Baltimore. There is a difference from East Baltimore, West Baltimore, right? I think so. Folks tend to say that, it's a different animal, and I think so. I'm excited about being East Baltimore, and I am East Baltimore. East Baltimore it's my side of town. I would not select to live in West Baltimore. I'm so comfortable over in East Baltimore. The connection with family and friends there in East Baltimore. I attended schools in East Baltimore, and I work here in East Baltimore. But what I liked about East Baltimore, because it was, when I grew up, it was a great community to live in because you knew your neighbors, there was someone in the neighborhood that could correct you, and then your mother would back them up, not you. So, yeah, they come to your mom and tell you you've done something wrong, and you get another spanking, correction, and so you knew how to conduct yourself when you were going down the street. So we had a person in our block we used to call the Afro. I wouldn't say that out loud, but she would tell everything that she saw, and if she told something about you, you were in trouble, and no questions asked. But people looked out for each other. It was a great place to live. Hi, I'm Barbara Bates Hopkins. I grew up in East Baltimore. I right now serve as the community engagement coordinator. I still enjoy doing that because I have a heart to serve people.
I'll back her up with the old people. Whatever they said was gospel. And so one day a lady came to my house and told my mother that I had done something wrong. And I said, no, Mom, I didn't. And Mama said to that lady, if my daughter said she didn't do it, she didn't do it. And I made a vow then that I would never lie to my mother.
All right.
And so I love Baltimore too, but when I think about East Baltimore and Hopkins. For us, it was Hopkins. Very few people knew John Hopkins, and no one knew John's. So I had a brother with rheumatic fever, and we had a nurse from Johns Hopkins to come to the house and to take care of my brother while he had rheumatic fever. And then I had a sister, a blue baby. And in about 3 or 4 days, they took her to Hopkins, because that's all we said was Hopkins. And mother pumped her milk every day. And every day I carried milk to Hopkins for my baby sister. And the building at that time was called Harriet Lane. My name is Doris Hill, and the owner of the Avalon Shoe Store. It was opened in 1937. We were there, as you know, over 50 years, a beautiful relationship with our customers, with our community. December the 3rd, I'll be 100 years old. Very proud of that, because as you can see, I have my health and strength and can do anything I want to do.
I know you guys are enjoying it. But we're going to switch to the one for Senator Irby for now. And get that one down. And then for the sake of time, we're gonna have, folks be able to go to the different kiosks and see which one that they select individually. And we'll run a few in the other room as well.
Curtis, can I ask you,
Sure.
because we have some of the storytellers are actually here with us today, and we asked other storytellers to view this virtually from home. Is there any way we can stay on that large screen and see, instead of, we see the limited space, can we stay on that screen and go straight through, at least the people in the room, so they can see themselves without them?
Yeah, if we can get them downloaded fast enough, that's really the limitation. So, see how quickly we get it. So we'll go with this one and see if we get the other one downloaded. Yeah.
My name is Nathan C. Irby Jr., born and raised in East Baltimore and love it. I am now, thank God, 90 years old. I was a member of the City Council of Baltimore City for years, from 1974 to 1982. I was born on Ashland Avenue in the 1500 block. My family moved from Ashland Avenue to the 1600 block of Abbott Street because the rent was cheaper then, $2.50 a week. I was raised on Abbott Street. I went to public school and I graduated from Dunbar High School in 1951. Football team. I was the leading scorer of the team. My father was a blue-collar worker, and in the 30s, I know this, he worked for the WPA, and for years I couldn't figure out what was that. So I decided to research it. It was a work program agency created by then President Roosevelt under his administration. Actually, it was 8. One died. It was 8 of us in the family. 4 girls and 3 boys. My mother was a housewife, and now I can attest to the fact my mother had a 4th grade education, and she had the wisdom of Bernard Baruch. My father had an 8th grade education and wound up being an engineer. Dad's family was from Blackstone, Virginia. They're farmers. Mama came from Lahari, Virginia, and that was many, many years ago. I think I lived the average of every boy and girl in that community at that particular point. One of the things that I realize now, didn't realize how much love was really there, opposed to what it is today. It was a camaraderie of families working in, just living together in harmony. I recall that the church that I first went to was Faith Baptist Church, and it's still there on the corner of Bond and Ashland Avenue. That's the first church I ever went to in my life. And I recall going there as a young boy to the Sunday school lessons. And I can recall very vividly. One Sunday, my mother gave me a nickel to put into the plate. I took that nickel and I went up to Madison Square and brought a popsicle. I came back at approximately the time that the Sunday school let out, and when I walked in my father's house, she asked me, "What did you learn in Sunday school today?" I realized right away somebody had been told her I did not go. And I can tell you in those days, they did not spare the rod. Need I say any more about that? All my life in the area was just great. I can recall Charlie and Molly's store on the corner of Ashland and Bond Street. I can recall the hairdresser on Ashland and Bond Street, the restaurant on Ashland and Bond Street, the shoemakers, two shoemakers. At that particular point, all of the professors of my color lived in the neighborhood. The teachers lived there, the lawyers lived there, the doctors lived there. It was all just one community. In that community, when I was raised up, it was love. It was so much love that your neighbor could discipline you. Then tell your mother and father, they would discipline you again. So I think as a result of that, it created a sort of bond, and everyone and do right. And one commodity that's missing today, we don't have that. Let me just rephrase it. We don't have it like we used to. It's still alive, but not like it was when I was a kid. I am East Baltimore.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Catherine Jones. I'm the president of the East Baltimore Historical Library. I do apologize for my delay. As you can tell, I'm also a pastor, so I must have said some things because I lost my voice. But I thank and bless each and every one of you for attending this awesome historic event on today. Thank you.
Very much, Catherine. I want to acknowledge the fact that we have Delegate Chanel Branch in the room with us today. And Delegate Branch, can you come up? I see that have a tendency to get more people. This is my delegate, Delegate Chanel Branch. She came here today to support the library project. And that's for Delegate Stephanie Smith to also join us. Up here. These young ladies basically are their moms, they have children, and certainly if little Chanel Branch here, Delegate Branch has grandchildren. And they're often telling me, well, Miss Nia, the only time we have time to spend with our own children is on Sundays, and you keep giving these Sunday events. I'm trying to explain to them that, yeah, we keep giving Sunday events, primarily because we started out giving on Sunday events, because our audience are actually elders. Most of the elders go to church on Sundays, and they're already out and moving about. So we thought it'd be easy for them to come on down to a luncheon or an activity on a Sunday rather than to bring them out on Saturday. So we're trying to hold with those Sunday afternoons. We know you all, you can't do this all the time. In fact, I know you're on your way to Home Depot and you stream it, but thank you, Pat. But we just have to appreciate the type of enthusiasm that this next generation of elected officials are bringing to this library. The work that was done previously has been done by Delegate Hattie Harrison, where I was told for having wisdom to go to Annapolis and bring back $250,000 in a bond bill to make this library happen. We thank goodness for our past Senator Nathan McFadden, who then went down to Annapolis and he got another $100,000 to add on to Delegate Hattie Harrison's $250,000. We really appreciate that because this build out in here actually cost us $400,000. Now, even though we're on this prestigious campus, and it cost, according to the newspaper, it cost $53 million to build this campus out. But once again, the Black people in our community had to go and round up the money to build out this space in here. Often I describe this as us being on a plantation. And if you have the beautiful big house, it's the larger setting we're in, And this is certainly the lesser space on that kind of plantation. Those are real like conversations that people normally don't want to have. One of the most challenging things we have been doing is to keep this project moving along. For 19 years is a long time. At this point, we think it's important that the two of you have decided that you wanted to come help us. We know that you are busy ladies, you're elected officials, and your moms and your families. And you know, I can't even apologize for it because the reality is you wanted to be elected. You said you were interested in representing me and all these other people in this community. So you must have been very comfortable with yourself. You know, you must be people who actually feel that you can do something. Do something that's different. So today I'd like to ask you publicly to do something that we needed for a long time. We need the two of you to help us by co-chairing. That's another thing I learned, folks, in the 20 years of doing this project. You never need one person. You need two persons for any task. So if something happens to one person, the other person can carry on. So we want you to co-create. We need to ask you to co-chair our largest campaign that we've launched, which is a volunteer. This library will operate through a volunteer-based staff. We can no longer wait for institutions to come up with the funds we need to hire professional people to operate this space in here. We have to do it ourselves. Very much so as our ancestors have done, we have to do building as we climb. The most important thing that I think that some of the young people need to realize is that this is not a shaky situation. It's not instant. It's not microwave. I'm sure I'm used to. Many of them don't know how to make it from scratch because of the conveniences of technology. So this is a project. We know that you all will be busy. You're in legislation now. You can leave out, I think, in March. April. You're kind of being wrong with that. And we know this is an election year. So we know when you leave that you will be on the line to make sure you get reelected. Well, I'm going to share a little piece of wisdom with you. If you have the wisdom to understand that senior citizens still outvote young people, we still outvote them. It is important for seniors to hear that you're interested in saving our history. I think I just saved at least $5,000 in campaigns, right? Go out and let the world know that you are here to make sure that the history of these senior citizens is archived in this school, in this space. I guarantee you that you'll be still in place after the election. Thank you very much for allowing me to talk to you ladies like this. These are the kind of conversations that get me in trouble often. But, I mean, you're both. I mean, following your career, that would be stepping stones. You're a rising star. You know, oftentimes it's not the message, it's the messenger. And people are impressed with your presence in Minneapolis. We're following you from afar, and we're cheering you on. As for Chanel Brunch, my question for her, she's an Aquarian, by the way, I'm an Aquarian, so whoever is an Aquarian, and that most very talented people who have to be Aquarians. But the thing that I love about this lady here is that her sincerity. Certainly her father is a delegate and has been a delegate for quite a while. And then you have Chanel here, who is now the next generation. The thing I would ask you to do is to be more involved with this library than your dad had time for. There's no reason, there's absolutely no reason that would be graduate library number one for this library. There's absolutely no reason that I can stand here and tell you that I'm not disappointed. I want you to understand that I followed your career. Then the thing that impressed me about you, Chanel, is when the media came to you, she's on the State Central Committee, they're on 7 people there. She was applying to take the seat of W. Cheryl Glenn, and she was one of the candidates. And so there was only 7 votes. Your state central committee determines who takes, assumes a vacancy. So when she voted for herself, she's one of the 7 members on the state central committee. So she wanted to challenge and say, I'm ready to fill that seat. And then the reporter asked her, don't you feel a little, some sort of way because you voted for yourself? I just loved her answer. I'm my biggest fan. And who wouldn't vote for yourself in that position? Your father trained you well. I hope that people can understand that you have to speak up for yourself. You have to speak up for yourself and be honest about the fact that who wouldn't vote for themselves, even if it was a tie vote. Thank you for being your biggest fan. Okay? If you do that, take care. And thank you for joining us.
Can I say something about this? I want to say, first of all, I want to give greetings particularly to our elders in the room. Senator Irby, it's great to make your acquaintance once again, and I hope we have an opportunity to share space. I know during this COVID time frame, it's been really hard for people to kind of have coffees and get to meet with one another. But I want you to know that Ms. Nia Redmond did not pull a gotcha moment on us because she had already spoken to us privately before she said that just now. So I don't want to take away from any of your legend of being a really brave soul, but she did run this by us before we spoke. But I just want to say, for both of us, we know that it's important to capture your story because if you don't tell your story, someone else is going to tell your story, and it's not going to be the same as you would tell your story. And I know that there's kind of a cliche or a motto that you only die once the last person who remembers you dies. So some people have never died because, think about it, we're still talking about Jesus. And all types of people we're still talking about, and no one's ever met them. So what I think is really important is that I would challenge you very gently that your audience isn't just the seniors who are trying to tell their story, it's to ensure that there's always another generation receiving the story. It's not just the archive of something that someone else isn't consuming it and absorbing it and being inspired by it. So I just want to make sure that we have as much cross-generational interaction as possible because I grew up in a multi-generational home with my grandmother, parents and my siblings, and I currently live in one with my mother and my husband and my children. And so I think it's really important the sharing across generations as much as it is important to remember amongst the generation. It has to go in between or we lose so much. So thank you for your stick-to-itiveness and your you don't know what no means. You don't know what it means. That's good. But I just want to be a conduit to ensuring that we have folks in here. So I was just standing here thinking, a volunteer plan probably should have a couple different levels. We want to ensure that we're engaging high schoolers that need to get hours if they have to get that to graduate. We want to make sure we're engaging college students who have clubs. People don't realize some of these clubs and sororities and fraternities also have volunteer hours that they have to meet in their university settings in order to stay in good standing as an organization. So there's a couple of low-hanging fruit opportunities where people already meet the hours, but they need to be aware of this particular opportunity. And then also, I would want to praise other seniors who might want to volunteer as well. It's not always about people that are in an academic setting. So I am willing to take on the challenge.
First, I would like to say the spirit of what we've been hearing all day. I am Bellevue number, and I have these folks.
Come on.
So I have been raised here. I've lived here all my life. And I'm going to first start by saying the African proverb that I always know, which is that if you're standing tall, it's because you're standing on the backs of your ancestors. And it's that for that reason why I talk to Ms. Neal 11:30 at night, 12 o'clock at night. I talk to Senator McFadden. I talk to, Delegate Clarence Tiger Davis. I talk to these people with my father, just for the simple fact that I'm young, but I don't know everything. And the only way for me to succeed is for me to know what those who came before me do. I've had tragedies in my life. I lost my son to gun violence, and it's the people around me and who have gone through things that I've never gone
me. This is what keeps me going. So when Nia asked us things like volunteering, I'm looking like, is that it? You know, because most people ask us for money. You know, and it's like, well, jobs and things that got in our control as state elected officials. But volunteering is the least I can do because if I don't invest in my own community and where I'm from, this is I have to invest in the community because this is all I know. Like I said, I was born here. I can't say I was born somewhere else. I came here. No, I was born here. Still here. Went to school at Dunbar High School. Raised my children in this district, my grandchildren in this district, and we still live here. So to take the challenge that Ms. Mia said, like that's something that to me doesn't even have to be asked. That's something I would want to do. So of course, I also accept the challenge. And I won't repeat that the Delegate Smith said, we work well together. And that we work well together in the community. So I look forward to working with you all, singing young people, and like the Delegate Smith said, we have to invest in one thing together, which is the future of the young Black and women, Black men and women that are going to come after us. So that's why my children, I have my children, grandchildren with me all the time. Not that I don't have to babysit, it's because I want them to see what I'm doing, because I want them to appreciate those around me. So for that reason, I definitely accept this new grant offer, and I look forward to working with you all and those communities as well. Thank you.
So we're gonna start. We're gonna take a. I'll be ready for the next one.
Speaks for itself.
Alabama, by way of Turner Station to Baltimore. The early 30s, they came up into Turner Station. They moved up into East Baltimore in the 40s, right after Second World War. Family purchased a home on Chase Street and lived there for a while and outgrew it because there's multiple families who came together. Camilla and James Madison, my grandparents. Besides my aunt and my father's family, they were all together and decided when my father was coming out of the military to move up on North Avenue. At that time, North Avenue was basically it was the boundary line for the city. So I come a long way. East Baltimore, for me, my father, he moved around. You know, he worked steel mill, crane operator. So he raised 3 children. So we lived on Elwood, we lived on Rutland, we lived on Lafayette, but our main staple was North Avenue, my grandparents' home. It was community based. Every neighborhood had an identity. Black, white wasn't an issue. I remember traveling downtown with my grandmother shopping at Lane Bryant. I didn't understand why we had to go down in the basement later on in life. I found out that it was segregation. I remember the old 5 and dime store. Black folk were entrepreneurs. We didn't have crime like we have crime now. We had a city that had its own identities. We had the Germans who are still here, the Italians, the Greeks, each community separated with culture. So I got a chance to see those things, even though we had very little culture representation in our community. But we had our own sense of culture because it was a community culture where things changed after the looting. Um, Destroyed the city. 80s, I went off into the military. It was a great change because Baltimore had the drug epidemic here in Baltimore, and it wiped a lot of hopes and dreams out. At that time, my grandmother was running 80, 84 years of age. She used to write me letters and tell me how the neighborhood was changing. She would hope that one day when I come home, I could help make a difference because she don't know if she could hold a house. Taxes were starting to go up, and cost of living because there was no increase because when you become seniors, fixed incomes, houses are falling down, the box stores was coming in, the hardware stores was going out. There's no way to make the repairs. Our people didn't know about the trades. So she sent me one letter and said, "Come home. When you come home, come take over the home." And who knew it would be almost 40 years now later that became a homeowner here in East Baltimore. I mean, we have Billie Holiday. We've had Cab Calloway. We've had, numerous people, but there was no point of return. It was like, once you got out of Baltimore, you're out of that shame part of it. I want to destroy young people of today as the future because they're still dreaming. They're still visualizing what their future should look like. But they're setting goals, but sometimes they're unrealistic and understanding all of the options that they have to go through to obtain them with education costs and things of that nature to develop you as a professional. Deal with reality brings that on. So, we're going to do another one. This one is Judge Heller. But again, all these are loaded on a different kiosk, so you get an opportunity to listen to them. At your leisure when you come to the library. I am Ellen Heller. I've been a judge of the Circuit Court for Baltimore City since 1986, retired now, and I am East Baltimore. I was born in East Baltimore at the Sinai Hospital, which was then located across from Johns Hopkins. My grandparents on my father's side immigrated to Baltimore City in the mid to late 19th century. They lived, my grandmother had a tailor shop. They had 12 children, and they ended up living in the 1000 block of North Broadway. Where I lived in that part, it was inhabited by primarily German, Polish,
Bohemia immigrants. They themselves had not immigrated, but their parents had. Many of the men worked at Bethlehem Steel, the manufacturing that existed in Baltimore City in the clothing industry. That was part of Baltimore City in the 1950s. Its economy was good, the jobs were good, and the neighborhood and housing reflected that economy. Bethlehem Steel is closed, the port is what it was, the manufacturing is almost gone. So that's important to know. The big economic engine that made the city a wealthy city, bustling, is gone. The neighborhood was very clean. It was the neighborhood of marble steps, and everybody scrubbed those steps and kept them clean. Indeed, I thought it was a treat when I was allowed to scrub and then polish the banister. The churches sponsored summer camps of 1 or 2 weeks. Snowballs in the summertime were in every alleyway. It seemed uncomplicated. I must admit, however, it was totally white. Baltimore City, when I grew up in East Baltimore, was segregated. Italians lived in Little Italy. The Greeks lived up near Highlandtown. I was living in a neighborhood with Polish, German, Czech, Bohemia. Even within neighborhoods, they were distinct. The city stayed that way as a city until sometime in the 1960s, when the roadways began to change, like Jones Falls Expressway, like the Beltway, under the mayoral administration of Mayor Schaefer. There were actually annual neighborhood fairs once a year, and almost every neighborhood in the city, it didn't matter west, east, south, north, everybody was there participating together all day. They still were living in distinct neighborhoods. A good deal of that has changed now. A major change was the striking down of segregation and Board of Education and the civil rights legislation. The other well-known heroes, although I can't give particular names, were the great doctors at the hospitals in East Baltimore, which were Sinai Hospital and Johns Hopkins University. And even there was a divide early on where Jewish doctors really suffered the bias and prejudice and challenges of getting into Hopkins. But they were wonderful doctors at Hopkins, which still leads in such a wonderful way. In my mind, is always the #1 hospital. I know Johns Hopkins, with Henderson Hopkins and with the entire East Baltimore Development Initiative, with the housing, the park, the hotel it's built, is trying to also bring people together. And I hope that continues. So education, building up the community, which is building up the homes, and also finding ways to employ people and to find a way to have East Baltimore have a big relevance today to itself and to the rest of the
Hey, how are you?
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us again. We appreciate you hanging in there with us through this program. So as you saw, some wonderful videos of our East Baltimore residents and community advocates and individuals that are the reason that we are here today, namely because of Nia Redmond, our director, founder, and visionary. So we want to do a brief interview with our president, Reverend Catherine Benson Jones, for her to give you a little bit of information about what her experience living in East Baltimore and what brought her to the East Baltimore Historical Library. You have the floor.
I have to start off by saying I am East Baltimore. I was born and raised in East Baltimore. 64 years of age, I was more or less raised in the Eastern District of East Baltimore, Southeast District, which is the public housing community. We have learned over our years that each community has their own culture, but each community bring about the same tradition where families can grow, learn, and be safe. That was the main concept of East Baltimore. It wasn't an atmosphere of struggle or who was the greatest or who was the smallest. It was a place where you could live, learn, and have fun. And that's what I captured from my development of East Baltimore. The financial part of East Baltimore, we were rich in understanding, and we were rich in trade. We wasn't raised with credit cards. We wasn't raised to have a certain amount of money. We could go to various stores and they would pull out an index card, and that was your credit card. And the East Baltimore community was taken at face value. You didn't have to fund it, nor did you have to make it. The schools were very, very academically inclined for the black people that were growing up then. As a matter of fact, we went to one of the largest schools in East Baltimore. At that time, it was called Dunbar Community High School. Now it's called Dunbar High School. And I identify that like it because when it was built, the new Dunbar was built, it was built for the community, of the community, and with the community in mind. And the academics there was to empower us to go forward and levels we never reached in education in the black community. We're grateful that we did have the traditional Dunbar High School standing and all the other educational entities surrounding us. The power that East Baltimore had was they were not afraid to share history, nor was they afraid to share knowledge. And one of the ways she got it was the oldest had to pass the baton to the younger generation. So it wasn't that you were walking around being ignored, or you were now walking around being a part of your community. I'm grateful for the seniors that paved the way for us, and I'm grateful for the ideas that they taught us. Go get all you need and come back. Don't take your skills into other areas, into other cities, but come back and build and build and build. So that's one of the most powerful things I recall. I loved all these stores, especially the Old Town Mall. Oh my God, you could go to the Old Town Mall. Whatever you wanted to eat was right there. And especially Wonders was the self shop. It was also a malt shop. It was the ice cream parlor. And we would gather at these places with no confusion, no frustration. Everybody had to wait their turn. Avalon Shoe Store was a great asset to the East Baltimore community, as well as a lot of the other black stores that were actually owned. I do applaud the black community because they ran Old Town Mall, even though a lot of the stores are owned by the Jews. They ran those stores and made the retail essential for them. And if anyone could ever recall, if you were surrounded in a public housing community, there was not a public housing site that was built that carried less than 400 people. Wow. So we ain't even got to the count of the high-rise like Flag and North lot of our sports figures come out of these using the substance they.
So one more thing before you go, because we're going to give you all a brief tour of the library. What's like two of the biggest things that you plan to do as the president of the East Baltimore Historical Library? What do you want this library to do for the community?
Well, what I want this library to do for the community is first bridge some gaps. And that gap is between the old and the young. Yes, the old is the history, but the young need to be the planners by incorporating the knowledge of the old into the now. So that's number one. I would like to see you be able to sit and tell someone's story who they never met and know they need them. And I think knowledge is power. And then I would like to see volunteers. I use this term because I try to be real with people. I don't need name brand people. I need people that got compassion for the world.
How about that? Awesome. Thank you so much, Reverend Catherine Benton Jones, President of the East Baltimore Historical Library. We are so thankful for that.
So, as you've heard, we've had many more interviews to come, and we are now getting ready for our next set and group. But right now, we're going to take you through a tour. Tanya's going to walk us through and give you a nice, not give you too much, but enough to get you down here sooner than later, especially as we're opening up. We'll have our hours soon posted, hopefully by summer, and it will have some more upcoming programs that will be open to the community to come into the lobby. So we look forward to seeing you. Thank you.
All right, stay tuned. We're about to give you a brief tour. Let me make sure our camera is doing what I need it to do.
Thank you for being with us. Getting on tech savvy, getting it together. Thank you for staying on with us this long. I know we're going a little bit over time, but hey, right on time. Always. Always.
Okay, so we're gonna do something a little differently here.
So follow us to Tanya. She's going to take you away. Yes.
We are. Come follow us, darling. Our beautiful producer, assistant producer helping us.
Yes.
Come follow us through the library.
Thank you.
Hold it up. So we're going to take you to the first area called the stage. We're going to show you some of the visuals that we have here at the East Baltimore Historical Library. Baltimore started here, home to a festival of nations whose stories we hold here. This is our beautiful entryway with some lovely large poster boards of East Baltimore as it originated. So we welcome everyone to come and visit. And now you can follow us into the second bay.
We're in second bay right now, and this is where you have the interactive kiosk available, where you get to see and hear all the stories. And let's take a look for how the kiosk works. We'll give you an example. So this is the kiosk. Tanya's going to walk you through the steps.
Beautiful, awesome technology. As you met Curtis earlier, it's been very helpful in helping us to set this up. You just click it, and it would play the video of an individual. So it's just really wonderful, and we can go through. Over here, we have books that have been written by residents of East Baltimore that are also displayed here in the library. We look forward to displaying so many more and also creating some new books. This is also a powerful piece. This is our community quilt that was designed and represents several beautiful women of East Baltimore. visuals here. Another beautiful storyboard, Stitching Old Wounds. I am East Baltimore and Storytellers Brunch. Anita and I are very blessed and honored to also be on the storyboard alongside Delegate Delegate Learman, pardon me. And this is our third bay, where we look forward to having nice lunches, things of that nature. And again, we have beautiful photos of old East Baltimore. So that concludes our program for today. We thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to having you come down to visit us here at 2100 Ashland Avenue. We're trying to get this set up.
I know. Sorry, I'm doing the whole tour, guys, but as you see, it's a lot.
Yes, a lot going on. And it's located right on the campus of the Henderson Hospital School. If you have any questions, you can email eastbaltimore101@gmail.com. And we thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you so much. Appreciate y'all.